Before we dive into this revelation, receive it in spirit. You are not a mistake, you are a divine assignment. If you have ever felt out of place, misunderstood, and attacked, this message is confirmation that you are exactly where God intended you to be. Subscribe now to the Chosen Signal channel, turn on all notifications, and share this message with others who also feel deep down that they carry a greater mission. From your earliest days, you carried something that could not be explained, only felt. Your presence, even without words, changed the environment. Your essence caused discomfort in complacent hearts, caused restlessness in conformist minds. It was not something you chose. It was not something you forced. It was the vibration of your soul, marked since the womb by a calling that the world could not decipher. From an early age, you noticed different looks, forced smiles, inexplicable distances. And many times you tried to adjust, dim the light, hide the difference. But the truth is that you were never made to fit into human molds. You were designed to break earthly patterns and manifest celestial dimensions. The attempts to silence you were intense. The bullying, the silent betrayals, the rejections disguised as friendship. All of this was a desperate attempt by the system to neutralize something that could not be tamed. You were ridiculed for dreaming big, accused of being naive for believing, criticized for following paths that few would understand. But each mockery, each criticism, each abandonment were, in fact, confirmations. They saw in you something that even you were not fully aware of, a bearer of glory. You were not a problem, you were a threat. Not because you wanted to be, but because your simple existence challenged the limitations of those who had grown accustomed to mediocrity. They tried to extinguish you, and without realizing it, they only lit your flame even brighter. The loneliness you faced, that piercing feeling of being different, of not belonging, was not punishment. It was protection. God set you apart for a time of refinement where human approval could not contaminate the mission He placed in you. While others sought applause, you learned to walk without an audience. While others conformed, you were trained in secrecy. Isolation was not abandonment, it was selection. It was in the silence of lonely nights that your true strength was forged. It was in the emptiness of absences that you found the presence that fills you from the inside out. Today, what seemed like weakness reveals itself as the unbreakable foundation of your ascension. At many times, you tried to fit in. You tried to love the same paths, dream the same small dreams, settle for the shallow. But something inside you just wouldn't let you. The discomfort was glaring, the restlessness was constant, and now you understand it was the mark of heavenly leadership pulsing in your spirit. You were not created to get lost in the crowd. You were called to lead multitudes. Your resistance to conformity was not rebellion. It was prophetic signage. You couldn't blend in because you were set apart to rule. You didn't fit in because you were designed to build. And from now on, this awareness becomes your map to access territories that were reserved only for those who dared to be true to their own essence. Now that your light is beginning to shine in a way that can no longer be hidden, many of those who once despised you feel betrayed. Not because you deceived them, but because they deceived themselves. They projected their limitations onto you. They assumed you were as small as their expectations, as weak as their projections, as harmless as their mediocre desires. And now, as they watch your inevitable rise, they feel as if they have been betrayed. But what they really face is the reflection of their own smallness. You did not deceive them. You simply grew. You simply blossomed. And your blossoming exposed how wrong they were. About you and, most importantly, about themselves. You didn't have to take revenge. You didn't have to fight back. You didn't have to explain. Your life became the answer. Every silent step you took, every obstacle you overcame without fanfare, every invisible victory you achieved while the world looked the other way, all of this now converges into an unstoppable movement. Your rise comes not with noise, but with force, not with fanfare, but with consistency. You don't shine because you try, you shine because you are. And now neither envy, nor sabotage, nor slander will be able to stop what God has activated in you. Your advance will be as natural as the light that appears on the horizon, inevitable, unstoppable, invincible. Nothing angers those who tried to hurt you more than to see your peace intact. They expected your downfall. They bet on your downfall. They fed on the expectation of your defeat. But God, in His infinite justice, preserved your mind, your heart, and your hope. Now, your peace, that quiet serenity that transcends circumstances, is the greatest condemnation to those who wanted your destruction. They will see that you have not only survived, you have thrived. They will see that the light they tried to extinguish now shines even brighter, and they will be forced to recognize that what is upon your life is not the work of man. It is the seal of God. Everything you have experienced so far has been just the preface. The tears were seeds. The losses were strategic prunings. The waiting was an invisible building phase. And now, with the structure in place, God releases the next stage, that of abundant manifestation. Prepare to experience the infinitely more that you only dared to dream of in your moments of boldest faith. What is coming will not only be to restore what you have lost, it will be to surpass what you never thought you could achieve, because the God who began the good work in you is faithful to complete it, and He is just getting started. That feeling of not belonging was real all along, because you were never molded to the confines of this world. What bothered others about you was actually the seed of your calling. Your difference was not a flaw, it was your spiritual signature. While many sought to fit in, you were called to transform. While others sought acceptance, you were set apart for leadership. And now, what once caused rejection will be the very thing that attracts those who need your light. The difference that once caused pain will now be the crown that identifies your mission. What the world rejected, God is exalting. There were times when you wondered if something was wrong with you. Why did so many turn away? Why did so many forget you? But now you understand. Loneliness was not a flaw, it was a filter. God had to set you apart to protect the trust He had placed in you. The purity of your calling required isolation, because if you had mingled too much, you would have diluted your purpose. Every night you cried. Out in loneliness, every day you seemed invisible, were actually secret encounters with heaven, where your true identity was strengthened. Now you emerge from the silence unhurt, but strengthened. Many have not understood you, and many still will not, and that's okay, because clarity about who you are and what you have been called to do does not come from men, it comes from God. The mission He has entrusted to you was not discussed in human meetings. It was signed in the heavenly council before you took your first breath. That's why you have never been able to let go of the calling, even when you wanted to. That's why, even in your moments of greatest doubt, something inside you remained alight. God does not depend on the acceptance of others to fulfill His promise in your life. He only needs your continual yes. What God is writing with your life will be read by many as a living manifesto of overcoming resilience and grace. You will be a reference for those who today walk around with their heads down, thinking they have been forgotten. Your story will shout that it was worth it not to give up. Each mark on your soul will be like sacred lines in a book that inspires, encourages, and awakens. God does not waste painful stories. He transforms each pain into a glorious page of testimony, and your life will be just that, a walking testimony that those who trust in God are never ashamed, even if they have to walk for a long time in the invisible. Your ascension will not require revenge. It will not need explanations. It will not require justifications. Your victory will be so serene, so solid, so undeniable that it will speak for itself. God is teaching you to win in the most powerful way possible, in silence, with dignity, with purpose. Each achievement of yours will be a silent cry of someone who trusted in divine timing and not in human haste. The true answer to those who doubted you will not be a fiery speech. It will be the unshakable peace that will rest upon your life as you move forward. The world will see. Those who rest in God are untouchable by the poisons of criticism and envy. Many make it, few make it, but your story will be different because your journey was not built on manipulation, but on truth. It was not built on shortcuts, but on deep roots. You will not just get there, you will stay. Because your heart was shaped in secret, your character was honed in the unseen, and your faith was purified in fire. God is not just interested in your destination, He is interested in your staying there. Your journey will be marked not by fleeting bursts of success, but by consistent, solid, and irreversible growth. Because the foundation God has laid in you is unshakable. When God begins to publicly manifest all that He has prepared for you, you will become a source of encouragement to many. Your life will not be an isolated celebration, but a collective convocation. You will rejoice, but your greatest joy will be to see others awaken to their own callings because of your example. Your victory will not be selfish, it will be contagious. You will ignite dreams, you will resurrect hopes, you will activate purposes. Because those who are truly raised by God do not use their achievements to build personal thrones, but to lift others to heights they never knew they could reach. What God has placed within you cannot be copied or reproduced. There is something about your light that is unique, inimitable, and impossible to fake. You are a singular masterpiece of the Creator, and what is about to emerge from your life will be so authentic that it will attract genuine glances of admiration and inspiration, and at the same time it will make those who live behind masks uncomfortable. But don't worry, your light was not given to be hidden or diminished. It was given to shine at its fullest intensity, unapologetically. Because in the end, the world doesn't need more copies. It needs the authenticity that you carry. The world celebrates instant spectacles, but heaven honors quiet consistency. You will not be remembered only for moments of brilliance, but for your continued faithfulness, even in the darkest days. Your constancy in secret, when no one applauded, when no one acknowledged, will now be crowned publicly. Every yes you said to God, every renunciation you chose without an audience, every act of obedience in anonymity is being weighed and rewarded. Your consistency has built a weight of glory that the world cannot explain, and this weight will now establish you where many tried to reach by force but could not remain. Maybe you have forgotten some prayers you prayed in tears. Maybe you have buried some dreams because they seemed too long. But God has not forgotten. No tear has been wasted, no cry has been ignored, no dream given to Him has been lost. God's memory is perfect, and it is His surety of promises. What He has spoken is still in force. What He has promised is still active, and He will arise to fulfill it all, not by your strength, but by the faithfulness of His own name. Prepare to live the reality of what you have only dared to dream, because in heaven it is still recorded. You have been chosen to overcome. You will see fruit you never imagined you would plant. You will touch lives you will never know personally. Your obedience today will be an answer to prayers you have never even heard, because when a chosen one says yes, the heavens use that yes to rewrite entire histories. Prepare to see doors open for others just because they are close to you. Prepare to see environments change because you have chosen to remain faithful. Your impact will be like invisible waves of transformation, crossing distances, crossing generations. You were not called to live just for yourself. You were set apart to be a turning point in the destiny of many. There were times when it was necessary to remain hidden, when God protected you by hiding you. But that time is over. Now, the Spirit says, arise and shine. It is no longer time to camouflage your light. It is no longer time to minimize yourself to fit into tight spaces. You were prepared in the invisible to shine in the visible. And when you take a stand, the whole heaven will support you. The heavens await your voice, your steps, your manifestation, not out of pride, but out of mission. You are the answer. You are sent. You are a sign that God still raises up chosen ones in the midst of the broken generation. And your time is now. Now that God has kindled his light for this generation, nothing can extinguish it. No attack can stifle what has been activated by the Spirit himself. No envy, no conspiracy, no resistance can diminish the intensity of the glory that rests upon you. You will not be a meteor that shines for an instant. You will be like the sun that day after day secures its place in the sky. Your light does not come from a human achievement. It comes from divine faithfulness. It is irreversible. It is eternal. It is a signature of God on your existence, a decree that echoes in all dimensions. This is my chosen one. No suffering has been in vain. No struggle has been wasted. Everything you have endured, the rejection, the scorn, the loneliness, has been training for the responsibility that now lies ahead. You have been forged to lead, to carry spiritual weight, to sustain purposes that would crush ordinary hearts. Your spirit has been stretched, strengthened, and prepared to endure heights few can maintain. Now God not only gives you victory, he gives you rulership. Rule over spiritual territories, rule over projects, rule over legacies. You have been trained in the fire to manage wealth, honor, and influence without becoming corrupt. Every promotion that comes your way will not be a celebration of your name. It will be an exaltation of the name that sent you. Your growth, your achievements, your influence will be megaphones pointing to heaven. Wherever you go, God's name will go with it. Your every testimony will be an altar. Your every victory will be a pulpit. Every door that opens will be an opportunity to proclaim that grace is real, that faithfulness is alive, that the God of the chosen still reigns. Your life will be like a flag planted in conquered territories, and that flag will say, "It was all for the glory of God." When everyone else abandoned you, he stayed. When your strength failed, he was the one who carried you. When your hope was nearly dead, it was his presence that rekindled the flame. Everything you have achieved, endured, and overcome has an invisible but unbreakable origin. God's unchanging love for you. It wasn't your resistance, it wasn't your intelligence, it was his love. And that love will continue to sustain you, drive you, and protect you, because you don't just carry a mission, you carry a covenant sealed in blood, a covenant that no one can break. And through that covenant, everything that was promised will be fulfilled. If this word has set your spirit on fire, know this: you were not made to hide. You were made to shine with eternal purpose. Subscribe to the Chosen Signal now. Turn on the notification bell and share this message with everyone who also needs to stand up and manifest their true identity. Leave a comment. My difference is my mission. I am ready to fulfill my destiny. This is the time for the truly chosen ones to stand up and set the world on fire with their authenticity and purpose.